These are the post-spring rankings, and this is just Josh Pate's. I mean, you can't pull everybody's. I can't show you everybody's. So let's start with this, and then we'll kind of go. We'll kind of transition into the kind of perception of Gators football as of late. What I've noticed is there's been 3 correlations between everybody's chart post-spring ranking. Okay, and the first correlation is that there isn't really a consensus number one, which I like. You've either seen
Mm.
Clemson, Texas,
Yeah, for sure.
Penn
You're right.
State, or Ohio State. Ohio State's been up there for a couple of people too, which is awesome because I mean the last I think like kind of few years there's been really just one like okay this is the one team coming in now. Obviously it changes, but and I agree with this. I like Penn State a lot at number one. That's my number one team if I had to pick it. I see why people like Clemson a lot because they're bringing a lot of people back. They were kind of just the right of effectiveness, kind of sort of Ohio State was last year in the transfer portal. Texas, I'm not as high on them because I think they have a lot of turnover. People are high on them because they love Arch Manning and they love the running back core. And like Georgia has for the last 5 years, they have stockpile talent for the last couple of years. Those things make sense. Ohio State falls in that same category. So that's correlation number one is that there is no true consensus number one, and I can see why. I agree with it. The other one is Georgia. There's a few teams that don't really fall in that top tier category.
Top
There's
two,
always
yeah.
there's a few teams that are just randomized. Ohio State seems to fall on a few. Georgia has fallen on a few. He doesn't have SMU in his top 20 at all. I've seen SMU up there. So there's there's 3 or 4 teams that just nobody has a true pulse on it. And I think Georgia and Bama, I feel the exact same way about them. I think people want to put them up there because of the status they've carried over the last couple of years, who they
They are.
are,
Yeah.
what they represent. But I have a lot of question marks for both teams. I actually really appreciate both of these rankings because I think Georgia, look, I know that Cole has them at number one for offensive line. I was a little hesitant on that just because of how much they lost. I know there's been a huge conversation on the Georgia side of things of the development on the offensive line because of their turnover in coaching. Gunnar Stockton, their quarterback development has had huge question marks. Running back, I think Nate Frazier, we got a show coming out tomorrow. Our Monday mashups the day late. I think he's going to be fantastic. Top SEC running back. They've always had those though. There's a
Hmm.
lot of things that are missing that Georgia has had over the last couple of years. So that makes sense. And then Bama again, you lose a lot of you lose games you shouldn't have lost last year. You're losing your quarterback that goes to the NFL. They're having a big swing, and what are they missing? That's been their catalyst. Nick Saban.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I,
go ahead.
I can agree with some of these things. Of course, I love where they have Clemson at right now. Um, with this new era transfer portal, and Clemson was one of the first teams that said we're not going in the portal. I think the first year where they had maybe one person or none the first year or something like that,
They have a
and then they
negative.
continue that trend, and then obviously you're gonna have to start picking some people. But I like that team bonding that they've built, and that's gonna pay off for them, I believe, in this season coming. They had a lot of young guys playing, trying to get them acclimated to the college football, and so you can keep that nucleus together. You're gonna see them surprise a lot of people. I know you mentioned SMU. I told people in the beginning of last year, SMU is the team that's going. I told them they were going to beat Florida State, and I told them they were going to beat Miami. I told everybody that SMU was probably going to win the ACC. I knew they would probably have a shot at winning it before Miami ever does, but for sure, I knew that SMU. You got to know your history of that team and where they come from, and considering the NIL era, they're not going to just fall off like that. So I think a lot of this new stuff is going to boil down. You're going to have a lot of unknown.
To Rocket Money, one of our sponsors for today's show. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, I just learned that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, I can see all my subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones I'm not using anymore. And now, I'm saving money. Listen, y'all know we love Rocket Money here at Hightop Sports. We talk about them quite oftenly for a handful of reasons. Number one, because you're able to monitor your subscriptions. Number two, which I always love, is that you can cancel your subscriptions through the app, which is fantastic versus having to log in, see which app it is. You see it all in one place, and you can click it through the app, and they will handle the dirty work for you. Thirdly, which again is one of also my favorite features is their little personal accountant. You can set up budgets for how you want to spend things with that certain month, whether it be shopping, whether it be movies, whether it be entertainment, all those things you can separate your little personal accountant in the palm of your hand to allow you to save more money and put more money back in your pocket. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find your cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and saved a total of $500 million on canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions to reach your financial goals faster with rocketmoney.com. Go to rocketmoney.com/hightopsports today. rocketmoney.com/hightopsports today. The link is in the description for rocketmoney.com/hightopsports today.
On teams that you don't know what's going to do what because of the transfer portal, and so all that stuff has to mesh, and that's harder to mesh. But you're going to have those teams that you watched at the end of the year that perform well, that still hold on to the nucleus of their team. Those should be the teams that are up there.
Texas Tech
that
is
are
one of those
high.
teams that had a really
Correct.
hot close to the end, and they've done miraculous things in the transfer portal. But the third consensus that I've seen with most of these rankings is Florida, where Florida has landed. Everyone has Florida essentially between 9 and 11, maybe 12. The variation is very small.
Yeah.
Essentially, top 10 is where most of these lists have Florida. Again, some have them at 11. I think the farthest I had at post-spring was maybe 12. Maybe one of them have 12. This is the highest I see them is 9. But again, I think top 10 is a healthy place where most people have them post-spring rankings. And then that goes into the perception of how things have flipped completely 180. Again, last year we're headed into this time. Florida isn't being talked about, but everybody loves to talk about Florida because the logo carries weight. And what's the conversation that surrounds Florida? Billy Napier's on the hot seat. He's got to win fast, right? And the hardest schedule in just the history of mankind that was crafted on the face of this earth. Like, how does anybody get scheduled with this? We have the same schedule, ladies and gentlemen, minus one game. I think we dropped, we switched out UCF for USF. That's the only difference. And then obviously we play Long Island, but that's just a rotation between whatever. And I'm pretty sure we have more of those on the road. I think it's kind of a 50-50 split, but the easier games, we have USF and Long Island at home. So 2 of the 6 we get at home, or 5 are 2 cupcake games essentially. So I said ideally the schedule's harder. It appears to be harder,
right?
But the view of it, nobody's even talking about anymore. You know why it seemed hard last year to Florida and why they felt that the schedule was hard? Because the view of Florida was that we were a lower tier team having to fight through this. Now I think the perception, it's still a harder schedule. It's going to be a tough road, but they feel, okay, this Florida team now has the pieces to withstand these teams more so than last year. It goes to the offensive line, like we just said, being a top rank. We've talked about that. I saw a list today. It said top SEC or top wide receiver duos in the country. Duos in the country. We're talking Oregon, Ohio State, big time universities. Florida was in the top 7 with Dallas Wilson. Now, again, these are just lists. I understand these things, but the perception of Florida has had a complete 180 flip, very similar to Clemson in a way. I mean, think about it. Dabo was on the hot seat last year. There was kind of concerns of where the direction they were headed and what they were doing, how he was recruiting, all those things. And then all of a sudden they get on a burner last year, and now that thing has flipped as well too. So it's cool to see this entire perception change. And again, follow the same tune that you and I have. Well, we've always been on this tune.
We've always been on the train. Sunshine pumping till we die. Listen, well, I think a lot of that has to do with the mentality of the team too. Facing the schedule we had, all the adversity that we had, the mentality of this team is resilient. The culture of this team is there. So it's hard for anybody to deny when you add that with the talent that we have. You should expect for us to be where we are. And for me, it's still a little low. I'm always considered to be a little low because I'm closer to the situation. So if you got outsiders believing this, how could you not expect me to think that we're top 1 or 2 or 3? Mainly number 1. But you understand what I'm saying? But the mentality of this team, their resiliency, they willing to fight, has changed how people view this team. So you add that with a little bit more talent. Although we have a lot of time, we have a wealth of riches at all the positions. It's amazing. And it's been a long time since it's been like that. I think a lot of these guys are just trying to wait it out to see, don't want to jump the gun too much. But they understand our fan base too. We gonna want to be higher anyway. But I think that mentality of the team, just what they did with the schedule, has people thinking like, oh, this schedule, even though man, look, it's the same exact schedule. It's just amazing how one season can change the way people view the team just that fast.
Let this sink in too, because again, this is post spring practice, post spring training, all the post spring game.
A lot of people.
Well, remember who did not play in that
Yeah.
game or in any of those practices because his arm was
Yeah.
surgically removed was
Right.
DJ Lagway. So
Yeah.
that is even more, I would say, supportive, right? And should make you feel even more comfortable. The fact that nobody saw DJ Lagway throw a single ball
Still at 9. In this
because,
one.
like you said,
Yeah.
the wealth of talent in all the in all the other positions.
Shout out to Warner and our backup quarter. They lit it up, man. Those guys was on point. I don't mean to get off topic, but I seen Kurt Napier post a picture of Aiden Warner to Mizell on the little out route in the flats, and the ball was placed perfectly. Young DB probably knowing that situation will take a different angle. Hey, you probably gonna get the first, but we'll get the tackle, not the touchdown. You got help coming. But the ball was placed so perfect, it came out with to that. And in my head, selfish me, I was thinking like, maybe if Ladway threw it, have been a half second faster. He almost wouldn't have stepped out of bounds. but it's beautiful gameplay, man. The way it was schemed up, drawn up, it only makes you wonder, like, man, you know, if Lagway, not if, but Lagway being who we know he is, if this is what he's gonna be doing, this is the offense and how it's gonna be running. Oh, book your tickets, man. Hey, I see you in Atlanta.
I saw somebody comment on Pate's post about South Carolina being lower. I'm high on South Carolina. I think Lenore Sellers is a top quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of great things last year.
Yeah.
And he said, how is South Carolina lower than Florida or someone else when they did better last year? And he's like, yeah, that was last year. A lot of things have changed since last year. There's some movement. So, look, I think they're all great takes.
We got Caleb Banks. What are we talking about? He didn't even play in the spring. We probably wouldn't have got a snap off.
A lot of things, man, that were unseen and untouched, and still people feel very confident about this team. And again, I just think it's the development that's been done over the last couple of months, and it's very exciting. Again, people want to say it's Lion season, and I get it, but I would say the media, as long as I've been covering, has been very critical at times. They want to be excited about Florida football. I think a lot of people do. I think Pate has been more optimistic than others, but there seems to be a very fine correlation between, and I said, look, media personalities, we're media personalities to our own right, but we obviously have bias in this. So it's cool to hear those outside perspectives view it differently. And Oklahoma viewed very high as well too, which I feel they're, I think they have the talent. I understand why they're looked at a certain way. I know a lot of people are high on John Mateer, the quarterback for them, the transfer coming in. There's some areas where they can point to where they could be successful because of what they showed towards the end of the year. I'm not as high on them as Pate is, but I get the perspective. It's very early, so let's.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
When was the last offensive All-American offensive lineman we had?
It was Torrance.
Torrance. Did he come back for the year after that?
No, he went into the league right after that.
But when was the last time we had an All-American that came back that offensive line?
I don't know.
Was it maybe a Pouncey or something?
Possibly. I don't know. It's been a while. I know we've.
I just saying that says a lot at that position. So that gives me a lot of hope. I know we talked about offensive line, but that says a lot to have somebody at that position come back.